Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you for joining us again. For all those on our WhatsApp uh, group list, apologize for sending you the message that was meant for our Gurma Therapy Group 2 completion date yesterday. So if you inadvertently got that, then please accept my apologies. And to all the Gurma Therapy um, graduates, or shall I say, the completers, congratulations for having devoted 2.5 years of your life in developing self realization, self actualization, moving towards self sovereignty, and most importantly, holding and knowing your truth for what it is, and going through all the various layers of deconstruction that Gurmat allows us to safely go through, transcending layers and layers of our sense of self, arriving then to this subjective synthesis of the self. So, congratulations to all of those who have devoted their time, their effort, and their commitment, not to just the course, but to mapping their meditations as well. So thank you and congratulations. And for everyone else, we're all devoted to the truth. We're all devoted to knowing what is going on. We're all devoted to realizing that it is possible that people can be fooled, and therefore we're devoted to knowing how to critically navigate, think, and to navigate within this complex plethora of programming that's underway. There's no two ways about it. You can see how the whole process shifts from one crisis to another. It is simply creating the sense of fear, which allows individuals to be easily managed, allows individuals to seek security. It's like if you set a dog on, some rabbits or something, they will find security within the bushes, etc. The same is true for us. So those who are devoted to knowing what is going on, those who are devoted to knowing the truth about their own illusions and delusions. And it takes effort, it takes inquiry, it takes sitting, it takes silence, it takes patience, it takes bravery, it takes an ability to encounter all those elements of we deny, that we create little identities of. And you'll find that those identities, which are now very, very pronounced. So we have a whole range of identities to do with race. We have a whole range of identities to do with gender. We have a whole range of identities to do with food, or to do with nationality, to do with life, to do with uh, politics. We have a whole range of identities to do with religion. And as soon as you identify with the identity, whether it's national, whether it's gender based, whether it's race based, whether it is profession based, beauty based, the way you look, image based, as soon as we become identified with that identity, that collective, it's actually normally just a collective of past experiences that we collect together and we create that as our sense of self. But it's not static, it's like a dynamic thing. And that we devote our life to that identity. And now we will find that those who are truly suffering as we go through these next few months and years are those who are particularly fused with their identities. Doesn't matter what the identity is, whether it's racial, whether it's material, whether it's prestige, whether it's gender, it makes no difference. But we are moving through this process of realizing that while we have a identity that we function with in life, this identity does not define us. So, in order to deal with this and in order to recognize this, which is the truth of Gurmat wisdom, Home Dira Grove Darubi is mine. That this activity of identity making, right? Home, self-referencing and hankar, creating an identity with everything that we do. This process is a dynamic process, and this process keeps us so occupied through sensory gratification, so occupied that we miss the essence of using this tool rather than becoming this tool. So we miss that out. So this is where this identity is now starting to become the root cause. I will tell you, I would say this now, and I'm sure in time life will prove us that our identity, our sense of self identity, is directly responsible for our mental health, for our emotional health, and for our physical health. Because if we are conflicted in our identity, the moment we identify myself with something, so let me give an example. So I identify myself as someone who has a beard. Let's just say that. So I identify myself as someone who has beard, and therefore everyone who hasn't got a beard becomes the other. And this creates, therefore, this duality. Right? Now, we can take this simple example and we can add it to our gender, we can add it to our race, we can add it to our skin color, to our height, to our weight, whatever we want to do. And as soon as we add that component, that quality to ourselves, then we create this duality. And the stronger this duality seems, like for example, the stronger this boundary is, the boundary between the one with the beard and the boundary with the one not having a beard, for argument's sake. The stronger this boundary is, the harder the battle. The harder the battle. And these boundaries are arbitrary. These boundaries make no difference whatsoever. At the end of the day, in 100 years' time, if someone came across your skull, they identify you as a primate, a human, and either of falling in one classification or another classification. And everything else about your nationality, your beliefs, your religions, none of that matters in the slightest. In the slightest. None of that matters now either, apart from being the construct, the artificial construct of conflict. So these divisions that we are now seeing in every single sphere that are starting to interfere in the education of children at the age, where subjects are introduced which create confusion to that which is yet to grow up. So these kind of agendas, which are now starting to become more and more prevalent, needs to be recognized, need to be investigated, and certainly need to be discussed through collective understanding rather than an imposition, to know what is right and what is appropriate for the well-being of my individual, whether me or a child. And this begins first with the mind. And if the identity is in any way damaged, then everything else is damaged subsequently. Why? Because health is to do with the mind. Mind identity is formed within us through the construct of our mental image of ourselves. And this identity is what we affectionately call in the Western world as our ego, and in Gurmat we call it as our whole man. Now, how do we get around this? Well, we are all have this and we all will have this. Through meditation, we begin to see the nature of our mind. Our mind runs off, we bring it back, it runs off, we bring it back, we runs off, we bring it back. It allows us to give us a little bit of effort, a little bit of, through a little bit of effort, a little bit of distance between the content of our mind, which form your identity, your ego, etc., and our sense of self, which is beyond that, the one that witnesses it. the one that witnesses when you're having a dream, the one that knows that you've had a night that's been, you've slept well or you haven't. Yeah. So this question in the uh, s- um, message on that was accidentally in some ways sent over, but it seems to have revealed a lot more than that. Is how did one sleep? How does one know that? How does one know how one sleeps? What is maintaining that awareness? And it is to bring an individual to that space, to bring themselves to that awareness that is unchanging, always monitoring all that's going and allowing us ob- uh, through subjective, objective disidentification to allow ourselves to synthesize, to bring together what it means to be human now in this moment of now, beyond the identity, beyond this self image. And in doing that, there's a profound transformation that takes place. And this transformation that takes place is a transformation in which the transcending, moving beyond your superficial egoic sense of self, simply by looking at it and knowing it for what it is and knowing its activities, the emergence of this new who you are, the new peak that rises in the mountain, so to speak, is still you. It is individual, indivisible. It doesn't, you are now no longer divisible. You are now authentically embedded in that which you are, knowing that you can have many identities, and you, like me, tend to use each different identity under the circumstances. But you don't have to become that identity. You don't have to become the identity, because this will lead you to suffering now and in the future. Why in the future? Well, if you identify with the body, well, the body goes through a disintegration system as soon as you hit a particular age, which I'm not going to say now because people might get freaked out. And at the same time, we have to recognize that if you identify yourself with a race, with a color, with a gender, soon these things become irrelevant as you mature through life. And at the point of your death, it makes no difference whatsoever. So, keeping this in mind allows us to have an identity, not become the identity, but to use it, like the mind, use it for navigating and allowing yourself to have a life which is based on health, well being, harmony, inner peace, outer expression, right? Inner peace, outer expression. And that can only come about if we are able to go beyond this identity, and only those who are devoted to meditation, not to an individual, not to a particular teaching, not to a particular science, but are devoted, committed to themselves, to become present, to become aware of themselves. And it takes devotion, and it takes commitment. The word devotion is misrepresented. The word is pagat, and pagat means as three qualities. Po meaning sense of love, at the same time a sense of knowing the transitory nature of this moment. So there is not quite a fear, but there is a knowing of how uniquely temporary and unique this moment is. Po. Gaga, Gyan, wisdom. Wisdom can only come through once compassion and contentment are your lifestyle. Then wisdom comes through. It's the natural organic birth of wisdom, knowing. And tyag. Now, tyag means we can translate this as a renunciation, but actually that's not perhaps correct. A better word is non attachment. If we know that today is going to finish, then we don't get attached to the day. No, we don't get attached to the day. And we can exercise. So when we begin to exercise these three qualities, a sense of awe, a sense of knowing the temporary moment of this moment, realizing we will never ever repeat this moment again. That wisdom allows us to renounce, allows us to step back and enjoy what we are graced with, what we are blessed with, all that you are needed, all that you need in this moment without asking. We recognize that rather than getting involved in the identity, which then involves you with the drama. Hope that made sense. And once again, nothing happens with accident. So each and every one of you, thank you very much for your commitment and devotion to and to listening to these small um, this well sharings. Okay, so we're going to do our meditation, and again, remember the identification, right? So right this moment, as you close your eyes and you draw your breath in and you become aware of your body, the identity is with the body, right? Wherever your focus is, that's what you identify with. So if your focus is with the body now, your identity becomes the body. Now, if we were to just look at the body, having stepped back, scanning it from the top all the way down, objectively looking for sensations that are dominant. Maybe a pain, maybe an ache, maybe a tightness, an itch. Notice that as you become aware of your body, your sensations, your identity has shifted. You're no longer the body itself, but you're observing the body. And if you're observing something, then you can't be it, can you? Okay. And now take a moment to bring your focus to the seat that you're on. And begin to notice the sensations. Notice that with a little bit of intention, you can bring this focus up towards your hips. And then intentionally, you can move this focus gently down your thighs. And as you do so, notice that you begin to become aware of sensations. From your knees, you move down towards your ankles. From your ankles, you move down towards your feet. Notice that you are intending. So this ability to intend, moving your awareness now, the intention to move it to the soles of your feet. This intention can be directed wherever you want. So bring your focus now, intentionally, to the seat that you're on. And in this process, we're going to look at intention as a separate aspect of our capability. Now, you're going to intend to bring your focus up your back. Wait. And we begin now. So gently bring your focus up your back towards your middle back. Intentionally, as you do so, becoming aware of all sensations. Once again, bring your focus up from your middle back to your shoulder blades, from your shoulder blades, bring it down to your elbows, from your elbows moving to your wrists, notice the palms of your hands, and notice the fingers on your hands. Okay? Now bring your focus to the back of your neck. And you're intentionally going to pull your chin in slightly. Notice your shoulders. And then moving your awareness to your eyes. Now, you have awareness. You're able to see behind your eyelids. See if you can identify with the awareness itself. As you breathe out, allow this part to soften and relax. As you breathe in, bring your focus now to your mouth, in particular your tongue. Allow your tongue to soften. Notice the sensations within your mouth. And as you breathe out, allow your face to soften and relax. Breathing in, becoming aware of your body as a whole. Next breath in, we're going to bring our focus now to our inner space. Okay, so now we become aware of what's going on within us. So let's look at our thoughts. As you begin to focus towards your thoughts, notice you don't identify with the body anymore. What thoughts are available now, if any? Bringing your focus now to the chest. Notice the movement of the chest. Notice while the chest moves, you yourself are still, observing. When you're ready, bring your focus a bit deeper into yourself. As though you're right in the center of your chest, right in the middle of your body. And you're going to try and hold your focus there as best as you can. And you're going to wait. Wait to see, to become aware of how you're feeling. In this moment of now, do you feel content? Do you feel settled? Do you feel comfortable? Or do you feel uncomfortable, unsettled, discontent in the moment of now? And if you identify with the emotion of calmness, notice you've become calm. No longer the body, but now the emotion. On your next breath out, begin to listen to the sounds around you. Notice in this moment of listening, you are neither the body, nor the feeling, nor the thought. So, what do you identify with now as you listen? What do you identify with now? Bringing your focus just beneath your nose, watching your breath. Holding your focus as best as you can, watching the in-breath moving in, watching the out-breath moving out. So where does our identity go now? The more we focus on our breath, the further we move away from identifying with our body, with our thoughts, with our emotions, and with your breath. And to get deeper into our breath, we begin to look at the qualities of our breath. Notice that the breath has four parts: the in-breath, the out-breath, and the two gaps on either side. See if you can notice these four sides of your breath. Follow through your out-breath all the way to the end. Notice when it finishes exactly. Notice the tiny little gap before the in breath begins. Allow yourself to sink into this moment. Notice how the breath feels now. Does it feel silent or does it feel loud? Bring your focus to the sound of your breath. Listening as intently as you can as the in breath comes in and the out breath that goes out. Even if you don't hear anything, hold your focus. Your intention is to listen. Your intention is to listen. Does the out breath sound the same as the in breath? And now, with that same intention, we begin to listen to all the sounds around us, including the sound of the breath. Open to any sound that surrounds us to simply come to us. We don't need to give it our intention. We don't need to try and work it out. We're just listening. What within you is doing the listening at this moment? Listening to the sounds that are close to you. Listening to the sounds that are further away from you. And again, using the sound of the bell to allow us to experience the silence at the end. What does you identify with now? Moving beyond the body, beyond the thoughts, beyond the emotions. Notice the silence, notice the stillness. Notice the absence of fear, the absence of hate, the absence of anger, the absence of stress. This is the identity. Timeless, limitless, present, sovereign, content, connected to all that there is. And as we become present within ourselves, the whole is present with us. Gently bring your focus just beneath your nose and simply sit with yourself. Next breath out, gently expanding your awareness. Notice the body now. Notice how the awareness has shifted from the breath to the body. And as the awareness goes to the body, we identify with the body. Notice if there's any pain, any sensation that's dominant in the body. Notice you're still sitting in the same place you began. Allow yourself to send your awareness down your thighs towards your knees, moving gently down towards your ankles and your feet, and then becoming aware of the soles of your feet. Bring your focus back to the seat. Notice the back is straight and upright. Bring your focus to your shoulders, arms, hands. Notice they're comfortable. Notice your eyes are closed, your mouth is closed, and your face is relaxed. Coming back to your breath. Breathing in, you can sense the body. Breathing out, you can sense the body. Knowing that while you may be with this body, experiencing various thoughts and emotions, yet you and I are beyond all of this. Simply the witnessing awareness, ever present, timeless, agar, self-creating, saibang. And you is no different to the awareness that's around you. Notice how the intention to smile brings a different energy within us in that silence. That is your choice. When you hear the next bell, use this bell to draw a few deep breaths in and in your own good time, relax.